Okay. We are recording. All right, this is a called village council meeting of the Hannah City Village Board on Tuesday, August 24th.
November.
Or November 24th, 2020. Thank you. Let's stand for the pledge and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Thanks to America, to the republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all very much. We're going to make this a fairly short meeting, hopefully. There's just a few things. The first thing is, the reason we called this meeting is to approve our estimated tax levy for the year 2020. So I think I sent you all the information. So I will entertain a motion to approve a tax levy estimate for $161,406 for our tax year 2020.
So moved.
All right, I've got a motion by Weaver and a second by Gates. Any further discussion? Roll call. Deanna.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Todd.
Yes.
And Rod.
Yes.
All right, motion carried. Michael, is there anything else we need on that?
I don't think so, Mayor. I think we got it all. We got tax levy estimate.
All
And so
right,
now we can move forward with the ordinance.
all right, very good. The next thing is I sent you out kind of a copy of our tax levy ordinance that we will be voting on at our next meeting. I asked you to kind of take a look at that and see if you saw anything that needed to be changed on that. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about the tax levy ordinance as I sent it out to you?
No.
Everything looks all right? All right. The only thing different that might come up is, as we were talking with Locust, we get billed by Illinois American in 100 gallons. And so we talked with Locust and they said it would be easier to track and might be able to help us find some of this water loss if we also billed in 100-gallon increments. And so we talked about that, and even if we decide to bill in 100-gallon increments, we'll still use the same dollar amounts, but they would just, instead of the 9.97, we'd go 0.997
Per 100 rather than.
per 100.
Fred,
Yeah,
I lost you from the time you started doing the roll call. It disconnected for some reason. I don't know what happened.
okay. That's okay. Everyone voted yes. And now we're just talking
The
about
four of
the
them?
water. So,
Okay.
no one has a problem with the way the water ordinance has been written. So we will be voting on that at our next meeting. So, but I think we can leave our ordinance the same. We may change our billing procedures, but it'll use the same figures basically, only billing them in 100-gallon increments instead of 1,000-gallon increments. But it all works out the same. The other thing I sent you out was the letter that I was planning on sending to our water customers to let them know. I hope you had a chance to look that over. Does anyone have any recommendations or changes, or have a problem with how we stated it in the letter? Hearing none, I assume that you're all okay with the letter, the way it's written. And we will be sending that out after we approve the ordinance. All right, the final thing that I want to talk about is, and it's not on the agenda because it just came up, is that we did have an employee test positive for COVID-19. Because of that, I made the decision that until we figured out where what we were doing and how everything was going to go, to ask our employees just to kind of self-quarantine until we kind of figured out where we were going to go from here. In the meantime, I did some checking with the Illinois Department of Public Health, the Illinois Department of Labor, and our attorney. I contacted our attorney, and he also did some checking for us. And basically, from what we have researched is, for our attorney who tested positive, our employee, not our attorney, for our employee who tested positive, basically he needs to be off 2 weeks or 10 business days. There is a Families First Coronavirus Response Act, FFCR, which basically will help pay for salaries of employees who have contracted COVID-19. The only problem with that is it's done in the form of tax credits, and we are a not-for-profit, so we don't pay taxes. So I'm not sure whether we will be reimbursed for it or not, but there is an act that would allow for reimbursing employers when their employees contract COVID-19 and have to be off. That being said, even though we may not be reimbursed for it, I think it's still something that we need to take care of our employees, and to keep him from being around our other employees, require him to stay off. But, that's a financial burden for him also. So I would recommend that we continue paying him for the 2 weeks that he will be off. For our other employees, because they have been exposed to someone who is positive for COVID, what I recommend is that we do something similar to what we did the last time we had a exposure like this, and allow our employees to work kind of different shifts so that they are not around each other. They're basically working by themselves. Having one of our office employees work in the morning, the other one work in the afternoon. Our street people have them work in their separate vehicles in separate areas so they're not together exposing each other. That way they can continue to work, continue to get a paycheck, and minimize any exposure to others. And so that is what I recommend. I don't know if anyone has any questions or different way to handle this, but I'm open to suggestions from here.
I think what you're doing sounds appropriate.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Jim be working by himself, Tom be working by himself, and the all
Right.
three can split.
Yeah. Rod, any thoughts or suggestions?
No, I also agree. I think the steps that you're taking are appropriate.
All right. Todd, you got a problem with it?
Nope, I think you're doing the right thing.
All right. Well, with that
Is
being
there
said,
anything that Roger can do while he's off? I mean, is there any water studying or whatever that he needs to do, or is he all done with that?
he's all done with that. I know one thing that, and it all depends on how he feels. I know he was feeling pretty lousy earlier, so I don't know.
Yeah, but if he's going to be off for 2 weeks,
Right,
I'm assuming in another week he's probably going to be feeling better.
right. I know one thing that he is looking at and working with Brian is from the information that we got from that road study, they're looking at different roads and stuff that they might be doing. So I know that's something that he and Brian are working on. So there'll be some things that he can do from home, not a lot, but yeah, we'll try to, like I said, as long as he's feeling okay, we'll try to get him to do stuff like that. But actually, I think he would probably be returning to work on December 7th would be his return date, if I calculated it correctly, as far as the business days and that. So, good thing is this is a pretty slow period for us anyway. They got the Christmas decorations up already, so we're in good shape there. So. All right, anything else that we need to talk about before our next meeting? Our next meeting will be next Tuesday, December 1st. It will also be by Zoom, so. Seeing none, thank you all for coming in. We needed to get this done so we could meet our statutory requirements. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Y'all have a good Thanksgiving.
You too, Bill.